I'm assuming you found this video because you have a Chevrolet Aveo or other Daewoo product with the 1.6 or 1.2 engine, and you think you need to replace the camshaft position sensor. I'm going to tell you my story so that you'll see how it worked out for me, and then I'm going to show you the full procedure as I did it. So just a minute or two listening to me, and then you'll be able to see the procedure on how the camshaft position sensor is replaced. My problem started when I bought a Chevrolet Aveo with 72,000 miles on it. Almost immediately, we started having problems with the engine. It would sputter, cough, and hiccup, and then the check engine light would come on. It would seem to drive fairly well except for rough idle and kind of jerking along at low speeds for 200 or 300 miles, and the check engine light would go out, and then it would happen again, especially when we started it up after it was hot. I've found out since that this is a common problem for camshaft position sensors because they have a moving magnet in them which can get stuck, especially when the engine is hot. I checked the engine code, and it was P0340, which was problem with the camshaft position sensor. I was going to change the timing belt because I thought the timing belt might be slipping, and then I found out that I didn't have the special tool required to manage the water pump when I did that, so I took it down to the Chevy dealer and had the timing belt replaced and the water pump replaced, and also, most importantly, these Daewoo engines have plastic timing belt tensioners and idler wheels. You can go on YouTube and find 4 videos where especially the idler pulley has just exploded at high RPMs, especially going in the snow or the sand. So if you do replace your timing belt, which I recommend you do every 50,000 miles, and also Chevrolet recommends you do it every 50,000 miles, I recommend that you also replace both the tensioner pulley and the idler wheel. But if you just want to replace the cam position sensor and you think your timing belt's okay, as mine turned out to be, because the problem was the same even having had the timing belt, both tensioner and idler pulleys replaced and the water pump replaced, I was still getting the same indicator light and the same engine problem. So I went ahead and proceeded with the replacement of my camshaft position sensor. I want to let you know that I am not a professional mechanic. I'm just an amateur. I've been doing it all my life. And I would also let you know that since I did it about 2 weeks ago, I've had no problem with the engine. It's running smooth, idling smooth, and I've had no check engine lights. Before I show you the procedure, let me just list the tools that I needed to do this procedure. I used the steps in the Chilton repair manual as my guide. The tools that I wound up needing were a 10mm open-end wrench, a 10mm deep 3/8" socket with a driver and long extension. I needed a 5mm Allen wrench, a 12mm 3/8" drive socket, just a regular one, and I needed a 3/8" drive long extension. I needed a screwdriver, a 1/4" drive, regular 10mm socket with a 1/4" driver and a long extension, a magnet on a stick, a flexible mirror on a stick, good lighting, the new camshaft position sensor, and lots of patience. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Use a 10mm wrench to remove the negative terminal of the battery. Remove the oil filler cap. Use a 5mm Allen wrench to remove the 4 bolts that hold the engine cover on and gently remove it. You will also have to remove the hose that's at the back of the engine from the engine cover, and it's in two little plastic clips. These little plastic clips just clip onto the engine cover and can easily come off and get lost. So be a little careful when you do this so you don't have to try to dig them out from behind where the engine cover is. The next step is to remove the upper timing chain cover, which I'm touching right now. It's right in front of my knuckles. It has three 10mm bolts holding it in, one on the front side and two on the rear side. You'll be able to see that much better once I hold it up. I used a 3/8" socket driver with a 10mm deep socket to get these out. On the rear side of the cover, the one nut is about 2 inches above the serpentine belt, and the other nut's about 2 inches below the serpentine belt. I used a mirror on a stick to hone in on it. I released the hose that goes from that square air filter, which is right between my hands. I used a screwdriver to loosen the two rings on either end of the ring clamps on either end of the hose. At this point, it would have probably been a good idea to go ahead and remove the air filter box itself. It's held in by three 10mm bolts, one on the inside of the car and two on the outside by the headlights. I used a 10mm socket on a long extension to take that out. At just before this shot, I used a 12mm socket to remove a nut holding the air conditioner line that runs between the air filter and the top engine cover. You can see it better in just a second. You can see that silver tube that runs between the air cleaner there and the top timing chain cover. When you take that 12mm nut that I just showed you the position of off, you're then able to move that air conditioner hose out of the way enough to get the timing chain cover off. Finally, you'll be able to remove the upper timing chain cover, and you'll be able to see the three holes where the three 10mm bolts held it on. An electrical connection which connects to the top of the cam position sensor is located just to the left of the leftmost spark plug, the one on the passenger side of the car. I'm sorry I'm in the way, but it just has a little bar that you have to push to the left with a screwdriver, and then you can just lift it off. You'll see it's a little metal bar on the connector, and then it just pops right off. Here's a closer but slightly blurry look at it. Very important that you take a rag and stuff it below the two camshaft timing wheels, and between those two camshaft timing wheels are where the two 10mm nuts that hold the cam position sensor in are. You want to stuff it in there so that it's under the lower nut, but that it fills up the whole area that goes down underneath, because if you drop one of those nuts and it goes down behind the lower timing chain cover, you're going to have to remove the lower timing chain cover, which is a big job to get that nut. Okay, so be sure you stuff that real good with some sort of a rag, like a red rag, and then you won't have that problem. In this close-up, you can see the two timing wheels of the upper camshafts, the red rag, and in between those two timing wheels are where the two 10mm nuts are. They don't show up real well in this. Now, what I wanted to tell you is when we remove these nuts, first I'd recommend that you go ahead now and take out the air cleaner, which I didn't do, and that you need to use a 10mm socket, a 1/4 inch 10mm socket on a long extension. I tried to get it with a 3/8 inch socket, but the 3/8 inch socket will not fit on the upper nut because the timing wheel of the upper camshaft is slightly in the way. Here are the 3 bolts that must be removed to remove the air filter. It was very helpful to get the air filter out of the way, so the two 10mm nuts between the cam timing wheels that hold the cam timing sensor in place can be removed. The nuts on the air filter are also 10mm nuts, and I got them with a 3/8 inch on a long extension and a 10mm socket. Now it was easy to get my 1/4 inch drive 10mm socket on long extension onto the nuts and get them off. Here is a look at the 10mm socket on the lower cam sensor nut. Finally, the bad cam sensor is out of there. The new sensor goes in. Once the new sensor is in, don't forget to remove the towels you put under it to keep from dropping a nut. And also remember to put the electrical connector back on top of it. Then reinstall the upper timing chain cover. Make sure you've attached the electrical lead to your new cam timing sensor, then install the engine cover. Replace the air cleaner. Put the air conditioner hose back on its mounting bolt and tighten the bolt with the 12mm socket. It's the bolt with the green on it in the picture. Reinstall the air hose. Replace the oil filler cap. Reattach the negative lead to the spark plug. Gentlemen, start your engines.